All right, so today we've got Adam and Jordan Ward. They're going to talk about their experiences in Dublin, Ohio. We're excited to have them here. They are new owners, so they'll have a very different perspective. If any of you have been on some of the calls before, we've had some of our more seasoned owners that have been around for a little while, and I thought it was interesting that we've got some new guys in, so they can tell you some real stories of startup and going through the selection process. I tell you what, with that, Adam, Jordan, we'll turn it over to you guys if y'all do a brief intro, and then we'll get into some questions.
All right. I'm Jordan. Hi, I'm the office manager here at the Dublin location of Two Maids. Recent college graduate, so I'm new to the game, but it's been great so far. We've been here since February, and we're excited about it.
And I'm Adam. I'm Jordan's father, as well as the co-owner. My wife and I own this franchise. I wear a bunch of hats, but I maintain the operator control here locally.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I met these guys almost my first week on the job, and they came in for Discovery Day, and I had no idea what I was getting into, and I think maybe they were the same way, but it was a good experience, and they really, like I said, when did you guys officially start operations?
February 17th.
Yeah, so, I was kind of writing questions down here. I said the first 90 days, and that's exactly right. So I tell you what, why don't we start with that? So how did you find out about Two Maids? How did you decide on Two Maids?
Yeah, so it actually started last May when I contacted a franchise consultant and said, hey, I'm interested in a franchise. And the only model I had known before was, if my friend owns something, consider buying that. And the consultant told me, hey, there's 4,000 choices in Ohio. Let's try to narrow some down that'll actually work for you and that'll be good for you. So we had a 45-minute interview and what my preferences were and what I was looking for, how involved or uninvolved I intended to be, what the investment was, what the time to profitability was. And the cleaning industry was one of the ones that came up. We also got the senior care industry, the plumbing industry, the home renovation industry. And so those were the franchise opportunities that we were looking at that matched me. Now, at the time, Two Maids was not available in the territory that I was looking for.
Right.
And so I was actually looking at a competitor in Columbus, a different cleaning company. And so I had a chance to compare those back to back in depth with Two Maids. And in the end, the Two Maids opportunity was significantly better than the other ones. So I think we put an offer in to buy this business in the first week of December. And then Jordan and I were down there in Alabama for Discovery Day the next week. And then I was in home office training a couple weeks after New Year's, or maybe the week after New Year's. And then we started operations in February. So it was a quick ramp up.
Well, which is part of, and my next question was about it being a resale. So you bought an existing business, and that does allow, hopefully, for a lot faster ramp up and changeover, because the bus is already moving at that point in time. So as opposed to having to go find real estate and having to hire all the employees and having to get all the contracts in place and doing all those, that is what you should get when you buy an existing business, is a quicker time to hopefully making money. Because it was a resale, were the other things you were looking at resales, or were you looking at startups as well?
I was not considering any resales.
Okay.
Mainly because the ones that were out there were beyond what the initial investment I wanted to spend was. And so the previous owner was looking to get out, was no longer interested in being in it. And so the price tag was within the range, and that's how we picked it up.
Sure. And now in hindsight, looks like a pretty good deal to have picked up.
Yeah, it was.
I think so. I think you did very well with that. Well, good. Maybe talk a little bit about, so that's how you got two maids and how you made the deal. Now let's talk about coming in, starting it up, and kind of the first 90 days. Tell me what you guys have been doing, and then I'm going to let you gloat a little bit about some of the successes that you had, because the numbers you're putting up are pretty darn impressive.
Well, man, when we first came here during the takeover process, it was an absentee owner, so she wasn't very aware of what was happening at the office at the time. So we played a little bit of cleanup. I remember our first day there, our cleaners went out with, what was it, a Windex Excelente Windex?
Windex Excelente in a bag of old rags. That was it. They had no other cleaning equipment. And,
a little bit rough.
Yeah. But one of the things when we started was I wanted to make sure, and that's one of the things that I loved about Two Maids opportunity, was the flexibility on my role. And if my son wasn't interested, or if they weren't interested, if Two Maids wasn't interested in him being a part of it, then I wasn't going to be interested. And I think when we showed up there was a lot of wondering what these guys from Ohio were about. But Jordan has been an entrepreneur since he was little, and this seemed like a really good opportunity for him to come in, own, run, grow a business. Mm-hmm. And the system that Two Maids has put in place and developed over the 17 years, I actually teach systems design at a graduate level at Ohio State. And I loved what they had put together. And you can see some of our stuff in the background here.
Recipe cards over here.
But that allowed us to not have to focus on that element. And it allowed us to do the stuff we needed to do. So we had everyone's had one major hiccup in the past couple of months, but taking over from an owner that kind of let the business go to pieces, I really appreciated what Lauren and team did to help us get that up and going. Absolutely over the top support in helping us make that transition. Couldn't have done it without her. And
Stephanie Mattis too. She has been awesome. She's a rock star, guys. If you haven't met her yet, I'm sure you will, but she's been helping us out. She's great.
Yeah. One of the field reps, just phenomenal. And so we had to do a lot of customer pre-experience. I don't know, Joel, you corrected me on this, but we had not done good cleanings for a while. We were hemorrhaging customers, and we had to go back and reset what it meant to clean the Two Maids way. Everything from the right chemicals to setting up the caddies to what it should look like when we're done. And the process just made it so easy. And then, of course, COVID hit Ohio 8 weeks ago on March 13th. Our governor announced he was shutting the bars and restaurants, and we had a $4,000 week planned, and it fell to $1,000. So we had almost doubled the business in the 4 weeks since we took over, and then COVID hit. But now, slowly coming back. But that's kind of a highlight on what our first period looked like.
One of the questions we get a lot, and because yours was not a startup, it's a little bit different perspective, but what you just said about doubling the business, talk a little bit about how you did that. Talk about, so we send leads, you convert leads, you guys go clean. You've got to recruit and staff against that. You've got to schedule against that. So maybe talk a little bit about the interaction between leads coming in and how you see that and how you function with that and how you doubled your business.
Yeah, when the leads come in, I think the most important role as an office manager, when that phone rings, you got to pick it up, because if somebody is taking time out of their day to reach out, then they're interested. They just need you to tell them why you're the right fit. So first thing, most important thing is when the phone's ringing, you got to get it. and they'll call every day of the week, and that's a good thing. But from that process, we try to convert them. We'll talk about the pricing a little bit, mostly what's in the package and what they're expecting from a cleaning service. Some leads also come in through Gataware, which is an awesome program that we've been using.
Yeah.
So many useful tools on there. But we'll get an email notification, and the lead information will pop up on Gataware when somebody enters our website. And then we reach out to them. We'll give them a phone call. Typically, it's a voicemail. So it'll be a voicemail with an email follow-up after. But when we get to talk with them on the phone, that's when things get nice. We'll follow up with an email with the information regarding which cleaning they prefer, and also a welcome packet. And every single lead, we like to mention the pay for performance, because that is a huge game changer when they're calling around. Around us, there are 3 other major cleaning companies. And what differentiates Two Maids from those cleaning companies, and what the customers really appreciate, is our pay for performance, which is a systematic rating after post-clean from the customer, and that directly affects the PHC's pay. So people love to hear that. And then from there, we send them out and we go clean.
And what was interesting those first couple of weeks, going from a couple thousand to nearly 4,000, was just juggling the schedule, learning the software. And because we were a resale, we didn't have access to any of the tools until the day we got in. Now we had some training modules, and we could play around with stuff, but it was baptism by fire in week 1 and 2, and then just hiring PHCs faster than we needed them. There's a lot of, I don't know, at first I was really worried about making them full time, and actually I don't have any PHCs that want to work 40-hour weeks. They're happy getting 30 to 35-hour weeks. Okay. So at first I was worried about, having them be completely full hours, but for the most part, that's not a big deal. The biggest deal was getting them to the right system. So we added a couple of things here locally, so that someone who came in at the end of day 1 knew how the setup was, and that would grab the right thing and not grab the wrong thing in a house without us being there, because none of us knew how to do it. Right. Stephanie spent a couple days with us, but the cleaners, they didn't know how to do it. And so it was a quick learn to go from all these leads that were coming in, to getting customers, to managing the schedule, to having the people that can actually deliver the work to the quality that we expect.
And Kyle and I like to talk about the fact that we generate enough, or in some cases too many leads. Can you guys talk through the number of leads and quality of leads that you get?
Well, I'm sure there are plenty of franchises that have that problem. I think we had some damage on the brand here in the Columbus area with online ratings. Okay. So the leads here have been tougher than I expected. I think the highest week we had was about 20, maybe 22 leads. Now Jordan has most weeks converts about 30 to 40% of those. So we have a really high conversion rate. Yep. On those, not since COVID. COVID's been a little more challenging, but so we haven't had a ton here, but I think that's mainly because of the negative ratings that we had from before that we're having to make up for. Okay. Now, how many recurring customers do you guys have right now? I know before COVID, when you got to your $4,000 week. About 40, I think. Okay.
Ever since COVID hit, we've recovered. The past 2 weeks have been slowly picking up speed again. Right now we have 17 recurring customers. Most of them are premium biweekly. We have a couple monthly cleans as well, but it's growing. We gained 2 more of our recurring customers back from cancellation. We're still waiting on the remaining. How many did we count today? I think
17, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we've talked a lot about it. To me, the idea of somebody that stopped because of COVID is not looking for another cleaning crew. If they come back and want cleaning service again, they probably come back to you. Yeah, in fact, we're getting companies. We got a call this morning of we
you're using this opportunity to get rid of our current cleaning company and switch over to you.
Okay.
So yeah, we've only had one company, and it was a corporate, it was a commercial clean that said we can't, we have to trim that. Otherwise, every other customer has said they're coming back.
And we've reached out to them, not every day, but we've reached out with them via email and text, just seeing where they're at, seeing when they would like to continue cleaning, or if this is more of a permanent thing. And we haven't had any that are just thinking about completely canceling. So that's a good
We
thing.
visit them all house to house in April and talk to them all too.
Very good. Maybe talk a little bit about that. Talk about the marketing that we do versus the marketing that you do, because you guys are marketing people. You're oriented that way. So maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we love the digital element. That's actually one of the elements that separated 2 Mays from the Cleaning Authority. The Cleaning Authority relies solely on postcards being mailed, which actually it doesn't affect leads, but the cost associated with it is out of control. So on top of the digital stuff, Jordan and I were driving around to apartment complexes, meeting property managers, running ads in local magazines, going to real estate board meetings. Of course, all of those aren't happening right now, but posting on neighborhood Facebook pages.
Hundreds of emails with real estate agents in the area, reaching out to every avenue that we could think of locally that wasn't covered with corporate marketing. So we especially push the real estate, because if you can get in with a real estate agent, then you'll have not recurring customers, but a recurring client that can give you more customers.
Yeah, the move-in, move-outs are excellent schedule fillers, and they're big dollars. Yeah.
You know, the neat part about that too is I was just listening to the list of things there. Very few, if any of those, really cost any money.
Right.
So, I mean, it's time.
Equity,
time is worth something. I get that, but that's the nice part, is it wasn't another $5,000 a month you were
exactly.
You know, and maybe as Kyle and I talk, and I think that I've had this conversation, I think with Gino in particular, talk a little bit about though let me put it this way. I've had a couple of people ask me the importance or why we have to have an office of physical location. And then I usually go into that talking about what happens, the office piece of it. I'm going to set this up so you understand my conversation. I'm not trying to lead you, but I talk about office functions in 2 ways. There's a sales piece and there's an operations piece, and how that works and how you manage that. And then that works into what you have at your location and what your location looks like.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing on the office is we need a base for operations. Obviously, Google needs it for the search algorithm, but we didn't buy a franchise to run a team out of. We bought a franchise to run 10, 15 teams out of. And you simply cannot have that many people running through a facility. I think at one point we had 6 cleaners going through, and our office was set up initially like a corporate consulting office. It was very nice, boutique furniture and all of the stuff, and the cleaners were forced in this one back room, and it wasn't set up for flow. It wasn't set up to do stuff. And so we did a complete overhaul of our office so that we could have our mornings, which are the single most important part of the day. I'll have Jordan talk about the huddles here in a second. And then at the end, when we collect. Now for COVID, we're doing something a little different. We're not having people in the office, or haven't had people in the office, but we set it up so that it's simple to prep, to get it out at the end of the day, and then at the end to receive it and do the cleaning and then reset for the next day. But Jordan, why don't you talk about the morning huddles and how important that is for the team?
It's really nice in the morning seeing all the ladies get together. Company culture is really important to us. And just being on the same page is just really important as well. In the morning, the ladies usually come about 10 minutes before the morning meeting, talk, catch up with each other, puts everyone in a good mood. It's really nice to have them around. And we also go over each of the company values. We have it plastered in the main area up on the wall. But we go over one of those. You can also go over the safety precautions and necessary conversations that you need to have from time to time. But meeting in the morning gets everybody on the same page, lets you know from house to house any special notes that you may need. If somebody has a dog that they need to put up before you get there, if they'd prefer a text or a call reminder, whether or not you need a key to get inside the home or a gate code. And we've forgotten a key a couple of times. It makes things a little more complicated. So, but the morning meetings, that gets everybody on the same page. It's really nice.
And we have a visual management board where we hold our huddles so that we talk about where our contribution margin is, where our leads are, where our ratings are. We talk about the different customers' comments from the previous week. So that board is all has all of our metrics that are important to us as a franchise, and that are delivered by them on a daily basis as part of the complete experience.
And several of the guys that corporate likes us to have, we like to just be open with them, let them know how we're doing, show the leads and the conversions to let them know that we're working for them too, that they don't just come in here, clock out and go clean. That we're working together and we're trying to help them and build this thing together. So.
And the office is the basis for all of that.
Very good. Very good. What are some of the components in your office?
So obviously you need a laundry room and a place for chemicals and then a setup. But so we ended up, our laundry room's fixed. So we're in a corporate office park, and that room where plumbing was is dictated by the landlord. And then, but we could put our chemicals and our setup wherever we wanted. So we ended up putting all of our supplies that they take in and out of the house, in and out of the office every day, right at the front door. So they walk in, the teams can grab it, put it in their cars. It's the shortest distance from their car back inside. And then we have an assembly line like table with two sides. You start your tote on one end. You can see it here in the background. The tote starts down here, and then they just go. And each one of these signs right above these recipe cards have how many white rags go in per house, how many yellow rags go in per house. So they can just go right down. They can look at their route summary. They can pack the tote according to that, and then they go right out the door. There's also a table about right here where the caddies sit next to our VersaFill station. So we clean the caddies daily. We clean the vacuums daily, especially with COVID. And so all of that's right next to our utility room. And so you just start at one end and you go out and you're ready for the day. You come back in, you dump it at the entrance, and then we take care of it.
Very good. Talk about, you're at a place now with 17. It's not, you're not, I would say not optimizing yet, but how do you think about territories and scheduling and drive time and those kind of things? What's your kind of strategy or thoughts around that? I know right now you're trying to get all the business you can, but as it grows, obviously optimizing the business is important. Yeah,
when I go to schedule each of the cleanings, I use Google Maps, really great tool. You can just hit the plus sign and then you can make a route summary through Google Maps to see what the shortest distance or the shortest time it is to make sure that your schedule is optimized. So they're not driving from one location 45 minutes to another cleaning just to come back. Just doesn't make sense. We use Google Maps for that.
We actually have all of our customers' houses saved on our Two Maids Google file. So when we open Google Maps, it shows all of our customers' houses right on the screen. And obviously in Gataware, you can color code by zip code. So we have that, and we redid all of that when we took over based on the area. We're in a large metro area, so some of our customers are an hour from each other. And that's going 65, 70 miles an hour.
With no traffic.
Yeah, well, that's without traffic. We don't have any traffic right now.
Right.
And so, when Jordan looks at it, he tries to get all of those colors on a single day. And we actually just added a whole wall that plans out what a month looks like, so that we can put the right customers living in the right areas, because it makes it way easier for the cleaners.
Well, and there's a hell of a lot of difference between 3 cleanings a day and 5 cleanings a day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that will happen if you schedule poorly. You'll only get 3 in, or 2 if they're 2 big houses.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about recruiting, maybe pre-COVID, and then what you're doing right now, because I would think the dynamics are a little different there.
Yeah, so we have oh man, I forgot the website now, but we Career Plug. So we have that in the Facebook ads that run for that. We were getting 10 a week applicants probably that were interested in us and joining. So there was not a shortage of applicants. And we could be very picky with who we wanted to hire, who we wanted to extend offers to. And then when COVID hit, we did a combination of in-house and contract labor so that we could manage our expenses more predictably. And then now we've reopened on Facebook hiring and recruiting. But one of the things that we have not had a problem with here is talent. We have had no shortage of talent. And I know during the validation stage, when I would call all over the U.S., even when I called the other team here and other organization here in Columbus, they were struggling too. But we personally, as a franchise, have not had a problem with recruiting at all.
Good. I was going to show the pics, but I think you talked about just the idea that you guys are process oriented and you've gotten your table back there behind you. You've gotten very organized around how to do those things, and you take a lot of variability out of it. And I know some of that is an enhancement or embellishment that you've done of the ops manual. But again, you said earlier, we're very prescribed in the way we do things. And if you do it that way, it works. So, it's interesting as Kyle and I talk to candidates, the idea is if you don't think you're going to use the value that the franchise brings you, don't buy a franchise.
Don't.
Right?
And we've probably trained, I want to say between 12 and 15 people since we've taken over, because we had to retrain all of our original PHCs. And we wanted it as mistake proof as possible. We didn't want them grabbing Proxy 15 and spraying a marble countertop. And so when you pick up a yellow spray bottle, it's a multi-surface cleaner. When you pick up a red one, it's our disinfectant. A blue one, it's our bathroom cleaner. So we have the colors of the bottles are all done. And obviously in the ops manual, we have, here's what goes in the lead caddy, here's what goes in the follow caddy. But we have a picture of it sitting there, and the caddy, they sit right next to it. And so they can, okay, do I have my pumice stone? Do I have my scraper, my toothbrush? Because when you're training 10, 15 people in 8, 12 weeks, you can't babysit every single one of them. And we don't have time to go and say, oh, I forgot this. I got to go deliver it to the house. So that became a necessity for us. And honestly, a lot of our cleaners, they won't say the Proxy 15. They'll say the red sprayer.
They like it.
Yeah. And so and then the caddy, they know, right. Just by looking at it. So, and then we made little warning labels too that go on our chemicals. So it's like, okay, this is used for glass.
Okay.
Or, you can use it on multi-surface. So they can just look at the spray bottle. If they need to be reminded, they don't have to chase someone down in the house. So I just think with the amount of training, if it wasn't for the base 2-MAID system, I can't even fathom the amount of work we would have had to put into it. It has just, if you're not going to follow it, just don't even consider us.
And the mistakes you had made because you don't know.
Yeah. We believe in the 2-MAID systems, and we do not change any part of it. We try to add things that aren't necessarily in the ops manual, such as our station back there, but we follow the 2-MAID system, and it works. Plain and simple, it really does.
Very good. Let's tell me some of your goals. Where would you like to take COVID out of it? And let's just say that we get a reset here in the next 3 to 6 months. Tell me look out 2, 3, 5 years and tell me what your idea is.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, getting the profitability is our first one, but for this, Jordan, I really want him to be GM for Columbus area, and I think we've got 3 or 4 regions here in Columbus, and we'd like to be able to see us running 10 teams out of multiple locations, and who knows where it goes from there. But we love the system. We know it's the franchise is a winner, and I think it's going to be up to us how fast we grow. And if people want a house cleaning in this city, we got 2.5 million people in our metro area. We want Two Maids to be the first name that comes to mind.
Very good. Very good. Good words. All right, Kyle, I'll tell you what, let's open up for some, well, Ron always asks, you guys are new at this, but I think I know the answer. Ron always asks, so if we go back 6 months ago, because that's all we can go back. He said 4 years to a person a couple of weeks ago. Would you do it again?
Yeah.
So I think you guys have been great ambassadors for us today. Let's open up for Q&A with you guys. Gino, Stephen, any of you guys, Craig, questions for these guys?
Yeah, I've got a whole list of questions, but I'll try and be selective about it. I'm curious to learn a bit more about gatorware. I'm also curious to gatorware. My British accent, probably pronouncing it wrong. I'm also curious how many to get a sense of how many teams you run for. Yeah, how many recurring households, and how that translates into how many teams you run. Let's start with that, because I don't want to sort of
talk about the teams. Yeah. So first of all, what area of Boston are you in?
We are currently in Norwood, but we've just come back. We're going to be in central Boston.
Okay.
We've just come back from a year traveling, so we're quarantining in an empty house.
Okay. I worked in Newton for 5 years and was in Boston. I love the city, and I know a lot of people out there. So, but yeah, to answer a couple questions, one team of 2 can handle about 40 recurring customers on a biweekly basis.
Wow.
That works out to about 20 cleanings a week, about 4 cleanings a day. But we found that we cannot only have one team for 40 because we need, bandwidth to do one-time cleans. So I would say somewhere around 25, you need to have a second team already on and ready. And then we also run a part-time team too, which includes Jordan and another person, so that if we need to pull a capacity lever, we can use that until we can get that second team up and going. But I would plan about 40 recurring customers. In our houses, we're in an affluent part of the city, so our average price per cleaning is pretty high, and it takes about 2 hours for us to clean a house. So that's what we're about 20, maybe 18 per week. So
okay,
per
awesome.
team.
As far as Gataware is awesome if you haven't had the chance to play with it. But it has everything from your schedule to the customers list with all of their information, including notes you've put in. If their dog's name, for example, people love that, stuff like that.
We've actually bought gifts with their dogs' names on it and given it to them. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. We also have our leads page pops up. So every time somebody goes onto the website, it automatically sends a push to Gataware with all of the customers' information they have filled out, and also what step they are in the process. Typically, if someone's in the first 2 steps, they're kind of interested. If somebody's in like step 4, where they're giving you an address or filling out details about their home, they're pretty interested. So that is an awesome tool as well.
I can't imagine running this business without Gataware. It is a diamond. I mean, we're in this thing. Hold that iPad up. So we run Gataware off of an iPad, because we do everything mobile, we do everything digital. we're not at our desks. We're either in the field with the customer or we're doing stuff. I mean, we're here some, but so we run that mobile. Jordan has that iPad with him, or we have it on our desk. But it is, I mean, it has everything. It's beautiful.
Even other than the tools, it shows every metric of every sale, all of your revenue from any given day or week that you can select. It also shows your trends as far as customer attrition, how many recurring customers you've also gained,
Your workers, what teams are together. Yeah.
How many leads that have come in. It shows everything. They did a really good job with it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying thank you. Yeah, no, it's a great response. Thanks.
Any other? Greg? Gino?
Sure. This is Gino. I'm in the Milwaukee area.
What area? What part of Milwaukee?
The suburbs west of Milwaukee.
So like Pewaukee or Oconomowoc or?
Yep.
Okay.
Pewaukee.
Okay. Yeah. So Jordan used to play on the Pewaukee Soccer Club. We were out there for 7 years.
Very good. I like the area too. So I won't be able to quit my job to start this business. So I need to find something I can, start right out of the gate. Semi-absentee. I'm not going to let it fall apart like the person you bought it from. Like morning meeting, I can probably be there 2 or 3 times a week, and end of the day, I could be there once or twice a week. I'll be Wednesday off, for example, but I can't be there, the main person, day in, day out. So one, I don't want to buy a business that I can't run and I lose my money. 2, I don't want to, damage the brand either. So I just want to know what your opinion is on starting right out of the gate as semi-absentee and having
I would
office manager probably.
Yeah, I would say this is your number one hire right here. Who's running your shop day to day. And you have to have that be someone you trust and that you talk to all the time. Jordan and I don't have an hour of the day, whether it's 7 in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, where we don't have the ability to catch up. So we've experimented with several different things, he and I. I've had weeks where I just disappear and say, let me know if you need me. And it's not that I didn't want to be there. It's just I wanted to see how it would, handle with him. I think the first 2 weeks of your business, the first week you need to be there. That needs to be a vacation week. I can't imagine starting the business, just the whole culture element of it. And then the other piece is I pay the bills. So, and then I am looking at the financial metrics, and Jordan, he's a financial whiz. I mean, his degree's in business economics. So he understands finances very well. And then we talk about the implications surrounding that. Otherwise, your office setup and your manager. But he has made it super easy for me to not have to be around here.
Okay. And I can do the other things around, nighttime, but during the day, I'm not available a lot of time for.
Yeah. Well, you may be washing some clothes. You may be fixing Gataware schedule.
Filling some chemicals.
Mixing some chemicals.
Well, I think one of the important points too, and Jordan talked about it, is the timeliness of response to the leads coming in. And I think that, Gino, to me, that's another piece that's really, really important, that whoever's handling the sales side of it can be very responsive. I usually will tell a story on a really good candidate that we had in the Midwest who was going to be semi-absentee, and he was a little underfunded and thought he wouldn't hire a manager right away. He'd come in and do the morning meetings and turn them loose, and then at night and after hours, he would return the phone calls and the emails. And it basically dropped him out of the pipeline, because I said, you lose. These people have lots of choices, and it's fresh on their mind, and they want to make a decision right now and get on with it. And you don't have the ability to put that off. That is it may be a fire drill, but it's our fire drill, something that we have to do right away.
There's so many things that the manager's learning at the beginning, and the leads. I was handling all of the leads, I think, in the first week, or maybe 3/4 of them. Just all the shenanigans. Well, and Jordan had COVID the very first week we were open too, so that didn't help. there's certain elements that you're like, I'll need to be able to take time, and responsiveness is one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if we don't call back in 15 minutes, I'm not happy. Or on the Gataware lead, if that's not responded to in 30 minutes, I'm not happy.
Typically, you'll be getting calls 7 days a week. I've only had one call, maybe two, right around midnight. But typically the calls don't come later than like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. But it'll be 7 days a week.
The bulk of them are Saturday through Tuesday, probably. And we don't use our desk phones at all. We have the Ring Central app on our phone, so it rings both of our phones. But we're hardly ever on the desk phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll jump in real quick. I was
Craig,
talking before.
sorry, I don't know anything about Buffalo. I went to Niagara Falls once. That's it.
I would say we're in Western New York, so yeah, Niagara Falls is someplace that's great to go, but you go once a year if you live in the area.
There you go.
So a couple of things. One, great information. Two, congratulations to you and the family, right? So one, you have a chance to work with your son. I've got 3 boys of my own. Would love to be in the same situation. So you guys are just awesome. So really, so I've got 3 quick questions. One, what was the name of that software? Gataware?
Gataware.
Right.
It's in-house developed.
Oh, in-house. Gotcha. Okay, so that's good to hear. It sounds like there's a lot of value there.
Yeah.
2, is there a preference between commercial and residential? Because I think I heard something about commercial.
Yeah. So our system, I would say, is set up for residential. When we try to compete with the commercial guys, if there's a commercial option, it's tough because that community's tight. They have their own systems. A lot of them are white glove. But we do have some that, I say slip through the cracks, or with COVID, we took because they didn't have capacity to do it. But I don't know. I think that's franchise by franchise, but I don't feel like we have a good competitive leg here in Columbus.
No, and I would tell you, Lauren Mike could pipe up here. We don't preclude you from doing that, and I would tell you almost every franchisee that I talk to does some little portion. It might be a brother-in-law deal, but does some little portion of some commercial things. The more commercial piece that we see, though, is in some of the areas where there's rental property or vacation property, and you're dealing with property management companies. It's still residential cleaning, but it's at different hours. It's not the 8 to 5 model that we use. It's a little different mindset, but we certainly are not going to tell you not to do commercial. It's just outside our business model, and you don't get as much support on that.
Yeah. Thank you. The last question I was just going to throw out there is really to you, Adam. Let's say a lot of us, have had the thought of starting a business or owning a franchise, for a long time. And now, I'm in the process, like probably many on the call, of finalizing, okay, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I guess in hindsight, is there any advice that you would offer based on kind of what you've gone through? You've pulled the trigger, but again, some of us are kind of at the final of that deciding phase. So any particular advice that you would offer for us?
Well, you've got to want it. This isn't something you go into half-hearted like anything else. I mean, it's a completely new venture. I don't think any of you guys have residential house cleaning experience. Not that you need to, but you need to be dedicated to the business and the industry. Secondly is I prefer it close to my house. I had a couple opportunities to buy territories that were further from my house, and honestly, I don't think. Well, I don't have a regular job, so I am a consultant. But I can't imagine me having to spend any time in a car coming. I try to do any time in my cars is with a customer or to a customer. And the other thing is your working capital needs to be robust. And so I would say err on the higher side, and then trust the system. If you follow it, you're going to print money.
That's great. Excellent advice. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. All right. We're narrowing down on time. I guess any other questions from you guys? Stephen, you had several questions. We got time for one more if you want.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Also, just echoing what the previous speaker said. Congratulations on your business and running as a family. Must be an awesome experience. And a great way to begin your working career as a business owner and business manager. I think it's a great way to learn. I guess my only other question really was: is this your first franchising experience? Have you done something like this before?
I've not. This is my first one. So all of my experience has been in Fortune 50 companies or consulting companies 300 million and up. So I've not had exposure to franchising or small businesses prior to this.
Cool. Excellent.
Sorry, guys. All right. Well, good. Thank you so much. Any parting shots here, Adam or Jordan? Again, I'm going to congratulate you as well. We're glad to have you on the team. You guys are excellent ambassadors for the company, and I feel like that the sky is the limit for you, and you set the bar very high. So that's a beautiful thing.
We appreciate that, Wink.
Yeah, thank you.
Corporate team, if you guys haven't had a chance to talk to them, they are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Price, Lauren, who's on the call too, Katie, Jeff, they're all great out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they really do look out for you. It's not like there's not a disconnect between us as a branch and corporate. It's very connected, and they do a great job helping us out.
Yeah. You won't go wrong. Yeah.
Thank you. For the candidates, this has been recorded. We'll send it back out, and we'll be touching base with each one of you. And Kyle and I are in the office this week. Let's talk. Thank you. And thank you for the folks, Joel, Lauren, and Jennifer, for sitting in on this as well. All right, guys, y'all have an excellent day. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Good luck. Bye, guys.